Happy to be joined by Kobe, Monte Cristo, Crepo, and Doublelift. And gentlemen, that last game was quite back and forth, one that everybody definitely stayed in their seats and kept it tuned in at home to watch. Monte, the early part of the game kind of showed something from Gambit, but then as well it kind of flowed into the game that you saw in Ozone.
Well, I guess I was really surprised by that game. And Gambit played extremely well, and this is what I was talking about and why I selected them to leave the group. They always play to the level of their opponent, and they're an extremely talented and a very dangerous team. And what we saw there, too, what really struck me was the Evelyn pick from Gambit. And there was a total lack of respect from Ozone for this pick. We saw nearly no pink wards in the lanes in the early game, and that gave Diamond huge free roam of the map and allowed him to make some pretty great plays. And what's particularly interesting, too, is that in Korea, they didn't play Jungle Evelyn until after All-Stars when Insect played against Diamond's Jungle Eve, and then that pick filtered over. Insect started using it in the jungle. Dandy started using it in the jungle. So this is a team, Ozone, that knows how to play Jungle Eve and play against Jungle Eve, and just totally forgot. No pinks, I guess. Pretty fundamental errors from Ozone, surprising.
And Crepo?
Even if you're not pink warding like the exits to the or the entrances to the jungle, one other way to deal with an Eve is to ward actual jungle camps, so you can predict where she's going. But there was just literally nothing of that going on. And Eve is such a pick that changes the entire mindset of an entire team, because everybody has to account for not only is there a jungler, he's also invisible. He can show up not only through the normal ward paths, he can sneak on your lane and get into your brush behind you. And Diamond's really good at reading where he has to go with that.
Also, it wasn't just the success of Diamond, but also Dandy, you know, he didn't get off his successful gank top. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication there with the Singe flip. And then he went into the 2-versus-2 situation versus Alex, and they chased very deep.
They went too far,
taking those hate spikes all the way along, and they gave up the first blood there.
When that happened, I heard Monty squeal in joy. He's like, the Dandy counter gank is coming. And I'm like, oh my god, the Dandy counter gank is... And then it failed. And I was like, wow, they got double killed. That was great.
To be fair, Dandy couldn't do much there. That was more Dade chasing a little bit too far.
Yeah, using that flash, because he Dade repeatedly used flash that game to put himself in really sticky situations.
Think of that last team fight as well.
Well, the idea was kind of okay there, but he just was on way too low HP and way too little damage to make it work.
Let's talk about those team fights a little bit, because we saw, obviously, the Vayne and the Kog'Maw, two of the late-game king and queen of AD carries here, but it was a little bit different with the Trinity, Triforce rather, build on that Kog'Maw. Doublelift, you definitely had quite a bit to say during that game.
Oh boy, dude. Where do I start? Like, Genja is just the best at making interesting builds. He does like crazy stuff on Ashe, like Manamune on Ashe, and now he's doing Triforce on Kog'Maw. And by interesting, I mean really bad. I just think it's so terrible. It's only good for lane. Crepo mentioned earlier that it's good. The components of it are good. Phage and Zeal are good for lane. Then when you finish Triforce, it's a complete waste of money. I hate it. I think it's just bad.
It's good up until the point where you finish it, because it makes it really hard to match a second item with it. But I think what went to Genja's mind and what the thought process is that every time he's living artilleries, he gets a speed up, and combined with slowing from E, he gets mobile enough to deal with the Singed. But at the same time, as Doublelift pointed out to me, like Blade of the Ruined King could have accomplished somewhat of the same things.
Oh, I see the synergy with Triforce and Kog'Maw, definitely. I just think there's a lot more efficient and conventional ways you can build.
But that wouldn't be Genja.
Yeah, that wouldn't be Genja, though.
All right, well, we have enough time to see these all going on tomorrow. We got to throw it over to Freak. He's actually going to be breaking down some plays on this Telestrator. One key play for us. Freak, take it away.
Thank you very much, Riv. I wanted to break down a really important mid-game team fight between Gambit and Ozone. This is the fight, I think, that really swung the game heavily into Gambit's favor and gave them control of the map. So let's actually break down all the elements here. So Gambit are sticking around for a very low health turret. It's actually going to be Darien who sits there and just wails on it until it dies. And that actually baits the backline of Ozone, because Imp is going to hit Darien the entire time. Dade on Rise is going to hit Darien the entire time. While they're doing that, Looper and Dandy are diving into the backline of Gambit. But you're diving into a Kog'Maw who melts tanks for a living, and Alex, who despite getting a really incredible fling on his Ahri, doesn't actually get touched afterward. Let's start the clip out at half speed. Watch this engage from Looper. It's amazing. He cancels the dash, and Alex is screwed. Pause right here, because there's the engage, right? Alex used his last dash, and his flash is down, and he's stuck in front of a turret with Dade and Imp right there. Alex could die, and they don't go for him. And so you've got a front line, and the Cataclysm comes in, and Dandy and Looper are stuck right in the middle of the back line. But here's Darian hitting a turret, and he's going to continually get shot by Dade and Imp. And one thing that's amazing here is watch Voidal's Crescendo. It just barely tags Imp. And that means there's no damage output from Ozone's backline, but a lot of damage output from Gambit's backline. Let's run it again at half speed. Watch how it comes out. Okay, Darian kills the turret, still taking damage. There's the Crescendo. Dandy's dead. Looper's going to fall right after, and this Voidoo's right there prevents any running away if he did break down Cataclysm. So there we go, 2-0 so far, and the team starts backing out. Darian, by the way, still hasn't died. He actually got out of the fight cleanly, and Imp and Dade are trying to play cleanup duty 2 versus 5. Only Diamond getting a little bit too aggressive and not sort of being coordinated with the team lets Imp and Mata pick up 1 kill on the bottom. But Ozone are basically super uncoordinated throughout the entire fight, hitting ultimately the wrong targets, hitting a tank who gets out of the fight. And just because of the concentrated damage output from Gambit, they break the front line of Samsung Ozone and then say, okay, well, now we'll kill the rest of you. And it was just kind of an uncoordinated fight and a really, of course, well-played one by Gambit. So that's going to do it for the clip here for me. Let's send it back to you guys.